I don't really know how to start the I don't really know how to start this video because I don't know how to describe what just happened. So I guess I'll just start with a very quick summary. So we're in Q3. Let me set the stage for you in case you missed this dumpster fire. So we're in Q3 and you've got, let me read off the Q3. Let me read off who's in Q3, who's a part of this mess, as Crofty was very clear to call this shambles 50 times. You've got, going into Q3, you had Leclerc, Hamilton, Valtteri, Sebastian, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Carlos, Albon, Lance Stroll made his second Q3 appearance ever, which I think the first one was in Monza too, and then Kimi Räikkönen. So Kimi Räikkönen DNFs, he goes in at parabolic, and I believe parabolic, and there's 5 minutes left, so red flag the session, you know, in qualifying the clock stops, unlike the other practice sessions. When he red flags a session, Monza is such a toe-friendly, like, everyone wants a toe, and even from other drivers, like, they're trying to get the slipstream and not get in dirty air. The problem with that is you're on a countdown, and what happened was all the drivers misjudged. Everyone in paddock, like, you have to, and I guess at home when you're watching this, looking at it, it looks like, why did they not think of that? But the fact that the drivers basically took too long, they didn't get the times in, and so no one was able to finish their time but Carlos Sainz, who, you know, at that point, provisional pole, which was Leclerc, had already sealed it up, and the only person that could stop that was Carlos Sainz. It was the most eerie thing where it's like the hope of one person rests on, you know, we're watching it happen, and, you know, the Ferrari fans are celebrating, and it was the most ridiculous thing to see 8 Formula One cars piled up in about 20 meters. And so I'll show you the MONZA-GATE tweet, the picture I sent, and the picture I made, but because I can't show you footage, of course, even though it's commentary, but it was so odd. So the results ended up in Q3 with, like I had said who started it, but you've got Leclerc at a 119.307, Hamilton, and this is all Q3 in the shootout, Hamilton in second, 119.346, Bottas just behind him, and then you've got Vettel at a 119.457. Valtteri's time was actually reinstated, and he went wide, but it was actually reinstated. And I know there's a little bit of debate over Sebastian's time too, with him going exceeding track limits. But I'm sure all of that will be overshadowed. You have Ricciardo in 5th and Hülkenberg. So Renault had silently, I guess not silently, but covered up by all this, had a really good day. Renault and Hülkenberg. Ricciardo and Hülkenberg for Renault, and then you had Carlos Sainz in 7th at 120.455, and then you had the 3 DNFs, and when I say DNF, I'm talking about the fact that they did, well, Kimi DNF because he wrecked into parabolic. The other 2 didn't even get to set a lap time because they didn't go in before Kimi had actually gone in under the 10-minute mark, which of course they waited. So again, all that's fine. That's normal with Formula One, the waiting, but it's just the queue, the just sheer nonsense of everyone waiting for each other. So I'll kind of put some images up so you can see how actually ridiculous it was. But that basically overshadowed everything, and it was hard to get some, you know, to see the engines and party modes on because we were dealing with stop-starts and then this whole mess. And even if they got to run, they would have been a tire problem. So just a very weird thing. You should go watch it. I'm sure it'll be investigated. FIA announced immediately they're going to be looking into it. I do want to touch on who got kicked out. So let's go back to Q3 just so you can be aware. In the actual first session, you had Verstappen. So his lap was compromised, and he actually had to turn it. So Sergio Perez had another engine failure. That's a blemish on the Mercedes engine. He had a failure, and it ruined Verstappen's lap. So he had to go back out, and when he went back out, he got engine failure. So Max having engine problems, super bummed. But the good and bad news is he was already starting from the back, but with the new Spec 3 engine, he was taking that engine penalty. But to see it already fail, that's not good. So with that in mind, and then you had Kubica, Russell, Perez, and Grosjean. Perez had the failure, like I said. It's a bummer for Grosjean because Magnussen made it through. And then we look at who made it out of who was actually eliminated out of Q2. You had Giovinazzi, Kevin Magnussen was actually knocked out. Daniel Kvyat, Norris, and Gasly. And if I missed it, let me actually look at the time, but the Giovinazzi, it was so incredibly close. Yeah, so Kimi made it in, and Giovinazzi misses out, and they were separated by 2 milliseconds. That's what separated the shootout. So, yeah, K-Mag missed out by a 10th, and Lance Stroll made another appearance in Q3, which is his second ever, and the first one was at Monza last year. And so much going into this for Mercedes. The first time they were leading all weekend, and it was just the tiniest mistake. It looked like the tides were turning a bit to go back to Mercedes, especially Hamilton, because Valtteri was giving him a tow around. But Leclerc missed the apex and at the second chicane, and that was it. That was all it wrote, and Mercedes took over, and that's really what they were going in with. And by the time Leclerc had set his initial lap, early on in the session to secure it wisely, that was it. Basically, they didn't get to really race ever again because of Kimi going into the parabolic, and then this whole. You have to go watch it. I really wish I could show you. They will. I know this will get taken down if I show you. Despite they might even take it down for the pictures because I'll upload this quicker than them. But you heard it here first. MONZA-GATE, the weirdest thing ever. You've got Renault looking really good. I know that over the weekend and just recently, Ricciardo's been talking very positively and high praises, which stinks for Hülkenberg. Bad timing because it looks like that engine's coming to form. Ricciardo's really been talking about, especially the one-lap speed, but they're finding some speed in that engine. So tomorrow will be really interesting. It's not surprising thinking about Canada, though. You think about it's a similar track to Monza, and Ricciardo got what, fifth or fourth? So in that qualifying. So I think it's a positive thing for Ricciardo. At this point, I want to see him race really well. It's not a good weekend for Kimi. He went into that. He had a few crashes. And yeah, we'll see what Max can do. But I really think this will be the defining moment, especially for Max. He's had such a good year so far. But how he comes back from this, I think this could be something that maybe not decides his future. But he's got his performance clause. No one knows what it is, of course. But I'm assuming it says something like, if you can't scientifically prove we can win, challenge for the championship, I think this is just going to be one that's going to be hard to ignore if you haven't, you upgrade your engine at Monza thinking it's going to help you, and then you don't even run it. And they prioritized, they were thinking about, they had that in mind last week at Spa, and they chose to do it here. So there's a lot of things at play. I think there's a lot of implications. All of this is overshadowed by the odd thing, and I can't even really give full commentary because whatever happened in Q3, and I know what you want to call it, I'm just calling it MONZA-GATE because that was unbelievable, and I actually cannot believe that they're going to let this happen. I'm assuming they're going to do something, but I'll go ahead and actually send you a link in the description to the actual article, and I'll just send you to F1 because they're the only ones that are going to, you can rest assured they're going to search for people talking about this. So I want to be careful, but I'll send you that link so you can see it for yourself. But yeah, Carlos Sainz made it through. Hamilton seemed to be pretty, he came down pretty hard on the rules itself. He seemed pretty upset. But when you look at his onboard, I went back, and again, I recorded it, but I'm not going to upload it because they'll take it down even though it's commentary. But he's like, he's getting pretty, and I'll put up a screenshot, but he's getting pretty dangerous trying to pass people. So you can tell he's pretty pissed off too. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this video, like it, share it, and I appreciate you watching it. But you sharing the video really does help it really does help my channel, and it helps independent commentary. So it means a lot to even engage, share, like it, and I appreciate it, and I'll be sending you guys some more coverage soon.